Hey there, it's Krishanti with Krishanti.com, bringing you weekly videos about psychic development and spiritual and personal growth. And this video is a psychic development one, and it's about a sneaky little thing that happens that stops us from being as psychic as we truly could be. But before I get into it, if you love this whole realm of psychic development and spiritual growth, please go ahead and join, subscribe, hit the like button, come to Krishanti.com and join my mailing list where I have goodies and surprises and fun things for you. I feel like the more of us that are a part of this community, the better, because we're at the forefront of this next stage in human evolution where we're all kind of opening up to our psychic abilities. And it's a lot of fun. Also, if you have thoughts about what I'm talking about in this video, please comment below and let's get a conversation going. But the sneaky little thing that I want to talk about is psychic laziness. And the reason why I know about it is because I have been guilty of it myself. And I've seen it happen with students that I have in my private training program too, where you just stop yourself from getting as much information as you could, either because you're afraid of what you'll see, like you're afraid you'll be too good, like you'll be too amazing, or you're afraid that you'll suck and you won't be good at all. So it can go either way. But just like how some of us don't try too hard at school or didn't at school or just kind of coast through life, we can do the same with our psychic work, but it's not very good for us to do that because we actually are super powerful and amazing, and we can repeat that track record. We don't have to worry about being amazing once and then failing the next time or that kind of thing. I think the more you practice, the better you get. But here's a classic example of how that kind of manifests. I'll give you a couple examples. The first one is a friend of mine lost a beautiful diamond tennis bracelet, very valuable. And she was at a birthday party, her daughter's party, and she asked if anyone had seen it or maybe a kid had brought it home and was playing with it, and nobody had seen it. So I thought, well, let me go ahead and do a little remote viewing technique before my daily meditation to see. So I jumped in there to remote view it, and I saw an image of the bracelets kind of in the sunlight or in light, like with light shining on it. But something in my head was like, oh, well, I'd been thinking, well, you know, she already checked all the bags. We were talking about that, the gift bags weren't there. Maybe she dropped it outside the place and one of the staff people like picked it up. It was in a busy area. Or maybe, you know, the dog ran off with it. And so already I was thinking, well, who's to say like that it's even something that can be found? That's a tricky thing with remote viewing unless you really do a very in-depth session. And this applies to psychic work as well. You really make yourself cover all the everything you need to cover and sit in there for a while. That's how, you know, you'll just get more and more information. But I did it quickly because my mind was like, well, you know, maybe it is just lost. And I could see it somewhere, but you know, I remember ages ago, for example, I remote viewed something that had been lost, and I saw it in bushes. It's like, well, what's the point of that? The bushes are everywhere. But again, I was lazy and I wasn't really doing what you can do, which is you can go very, very deep and really get a lot of information. But I didn't because of that in my mind. She actually did find it. And it was in a vase of flowers that had been around the cake when they were cutting the cake. So it just fell off into that at the bottom of the vase, which was so cool and funny. But I was kicking myself. I'm like, oh, I should have just stayed with it and maybe would have seen something else, you know? But the more you try, the better you get. And an example of doing remote viewing where it actually worked was a friend who lost a valuable was it a ring or a necklace that she loved? It was really pretty. And so I looked for it, remote viewing, and I saw it next to a sink, a very clear image of it sitting on the counter next to the sink. And we went to her sink and it wasn't there. But a couple of days later, she found it in the sink of her friend's house. So it was right where I saw it, but a different sink. So even though things will present differently than what you think they will, it still helps to go in and be thorough and not teach yourself and stop yourself from getting as much as you could get psychically. I had a student a while ago too who did this, where I think she would just hold herself back. She didn't trust that she could really do it, and in so doing, she just would stop herself from seeing things at all, and everything that she picked up or sensed or saw, she second guessed and doubted. And it's a very challenging thing to overcome if you have that, and it's very normal to have that. It's normal to not want to try as hard as you could, and to be afraid that you'll be wrong or that you'll be amazing, because then you're stuck at that standard of like consistently having to be that amazing. You know what I mean? I think we're human, and we have to give ourselves like a little slack here, and know that that's a part of the human process. And to be honest, if someone was a little too confident or too like, I know everything, it's like, well, too big for their britches, that's a little bit annoying too. So I'm always a softie and looking for ways to rationalize things. But if you feel like you might be in that situation, I think to take note of everything you get is so useful. I record, because I type it out, every channeling session that I do for myself, so I can look back to something 2 years ago and see whether it was accurate or not. And another thing about psychic work is it's rare that there's 100% accuracy at all times. If you're even above a 50% accuracy rate, that's still good. You want to aim for something higher, like maybe 80%, if you're really tracking it and you're doing this sort of analytically. But sometimes things happen in life and we don't always know the reason why, but there's a reason behind it all. So if that, you can keep that in mind with your psychic work too. Like some things we're not meant to figure out and know all about. But I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, as I often do if you've seen other videos on here, back to the core issue, which is either being too lazy or afraid of being too good. Check yourself and just see how you're doing. Like, how am I really pushing myself as far as I can? Can I push further? Can I stay longer? Can I refresh like what I'm getting to see if new information flows, and just document that and turn down your mind, and then look at the parts of yourself that might be holding yourself back. Because the cool thing about the psychic stuff is when you get really into doing it, it's such a beautiful pathway for personal growth, and to see where your weaknesses are and your blind spots and places where you could improve and better yourself. It's like such a great learning opportunity. And as I always say with the psychic work and seeing how good you are, it's sort of like you want to stick to this for life, because things will reveal themselves over the years, and things that you sensed or picked up sometimes take a while to come around or to manifest. I'll finish with one story that I absolutely love, which is ages and ages ago, my best friend from high school was asking about guys. She was having a hard time with guys, and I was practicing the psychic stuff, and she's like, can you see anything about who I'm going to end up being with, like long term? And psychic information is really funny when it first comes in, especially if you're someone like me. I can be really imaginative. But what I got about this guy was that he would have hairy legs and play the pan flute. And we were laughing. We were like, well, what is he, pan? Walking around, or how do you hold it, like this or like this, like playing your little pan flute in the forest with your hairy legs. But she just got together with somebody, and she said it's the funniest thing. He doesn't have a lot of hair on his body, but he has hairy legs. And he has a pan flute, and they're so in love, and it took years and years, but it finally happened, and I'm getting goosebumps. I am so happy for her. It's it's wonderful, but it's so funny. So stick with it, and you'll get more hits than misses. I promise. I guarantee you. And I'm here to help. So just reach out or put a comment below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Okay, bye.